اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء.
صلي على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمد النبي أمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
I'd like to welcome you all to another session of Dua Kumayl. And last week we discussed, or we gave an introduction to the next few stanzas that begin Allahumma makfirli yat danub al-lati, or Allah forgive me the sins. And this is beautiful. I mean, this whole section, after we came out of the beautiful introduction of who Allah is, what His powers are, how it is that we call on Him, now we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for our sins. But my question is, according to Islam, what is a sin? You know, I'm asking everyone. Who has a definition for what a sin is in Islam? Yes, sir.
Those things which take you away from Allah.
The things that take you away from Allah. Anyone else?
The things that Allah told us to stay away from.
The things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us to stay away from. As far as sinners are concerned, do we have the same concept of sin and being a sinner that other schools, well, not necessarily schools of thought, but other religions have? Somewhat. What's the major difference?
Certain sins are looked at more. Certain sins are looked at worse than others.
Some sins are looked at as
Worse than others.
worse than others. So we have greater sins and
Lesser sins.
minor sins. But other religions actually have sins that they consider great sins and lesser sins. I'll give you an example. In Islam, what is the greatest sin?
Sure.
Shirk.
Cutting ties with relatives.
The greatest sin,
Oh, greatest. I think it's a greater.
no, the greatest sin is shirk. In Christianity, what is the greatest sin? Does anyone know?
Blasphemy.
Kevin answered.
Blaspheming of the Holy Spirit. This is their greatest
Is
sin.
he right? No, Kevin says no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
But other than that, every other sin could be forgiven. But as far as the state of a sinner, the state of a human being a perpetual sinner, is that an idea that we have in Islam, or is this an idea that is foreign to us as Muslims? Absolutely, it's foreign to us. In Christianity, when a person, they say that everyone is born into sin because of Adam and Eve, because of them going against the rule or the advice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and eating the forbidden fruit. So they say that everyone is considered a sinner because of that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that no bearer of burdens can do what? Bear the burdens of another. So in this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing which attribute of His? Kindness, mercy, but more importantly, justice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just. He does not put us in a place that will make us responsible for the wrongs of someone else. When it comes to sins, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, he lets us know that a pious believer who remembers Allah and the resurrection day knows the inauspicious signs of committing sins, and he loathes the sins apparently and secretly, and he is a viable human being. How blessed is that? That the person who is the believer, when he commits a sin, what does he do? Loathe means to hate. He is disgusted with that sin. And he's disgusted with that sin whether he does it in front of people, apparently, or if he does it where no one else can see. This means that his soul has reached what level? Is operating on which level? We talked about the nafsi amara. We talked about the nafsi lawama. And we talked about the nafsi mutmainna. So which one of those levels is the soul at if he hates when he sins?
Lawama.
He nafsi lawama, that self-accusing soul. But what about the person who decides that he wants to continue to create sins?
Amara.
Nafsi amara. And Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, and the sinner who is ignorant of Allah and the resurrection day and doesn't fear sins is actually a dead person. So if you don't care about your sins, you're already dead anyway. You're just a walking corpse. So what is it that we try to do right now? We try to educate ourselves on what is a sin, what's not a sin, how do we stay away from these sins, and how is it that we can reconcile ourselves back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in these verses, we are doing what? We're doing what is called tawbah. Or we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what? Forgiveness. Oh Allah, forgive me the sins that. And tonight, inshallah, we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma kfir li yat danubi billati taktikul aysam. Aysam, or when we translate this into English, roughly, because we're not going to get the exact words in the English language, it says, oh Allah, forgive me those sins which tear apart safeguards. What is a safeguard?
Protection.
Protection. In this dua, what is it that we're talking about? The sins that tear apart the safeguards. In other words, define safeguards other than protection. The word aysam, the best word that I found to describe it is actually continence. Does anyone know what the word continence means? This is why we do Tafseer of Dua Kumayl. Because the importance of doing Dua Kumayl, the importance of doing Dua Kumayl is that when we look at these words, when we read these words, if we really don't know what the words mean, how can they truly touch our hearts? The word continence, it means self-restraint and moderation. So what we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do is to forgive us for those sins that breaks down our nafsi lawam, or that breaks down our self-restraint and moderation. But what are those sins that break down our moderation? Drinking. What else?
Ganja.
Smoking weed, marijuana, ganja. Anything else?
Zina.
Say that again?
Zina.
Adultery, fornication. We're going to get to that a little later.
Gambling.
Gambling. What else? There are 5. You guys have successfully given me 2.5. You can't cheat. You can't cheat. You can't cheat.
Right here. Right here.
Okay. Inshallah. But breaking down those things that give us our self-restraint means actually what? What does alcohol do?
It makes you lose your mind.
It makes you lose your mind. But they say that alcohol spoils the inhibitions. Alcohol literally spoils the inhibitions. When you drink, it makes you do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. Tonight, we're not going to go through all 5. Those 5 are actually drinking intoxicants, gambling. You guys have gambling. Useless act and speech for making people laugh. We have to work on that one, inshallah. References to people's deficiencies and accompanying the alleged sinners. So if you know that someone is an open sinner, you have to stay away from them. Now, for me, it wouldn't matter to me if we were to go through all of these things tonight, because I'm okay with it. But I'm not going to keep you here so long, so we're going to break this up into 2 sessions, inshallah. But tonight, what we're going to talk about is alcohol, the drinking of intoxicants. And this is very important to us because, let me see, high school. Hamid, what grade are you in now?
11.
Kevin. So we have 2 juniors in high school, grown man, 3 high school students, college?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 college students,
It's a fake beard.
a middle school student, and a career student. Alhamdulillah. Brother Ishaq, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
But when we talk about students, and for the majority of you guys in here, what is it that you go through on a daily basis? Something that they say that you guys deal with is peer pressure. And for you guys that are between the ages of 14 and 40, these are the youth. So that means that right now our minds are open and people try to influence us to do a whole lot of things. But in your age group right now, it's easier for you guys, for your friends to go sneak alcohol, not you, but your friends to go sneak alcohol from their parents' houses and bring it to the school. Many kids, when I was in school, they used to get cough syrup.
Still do.
Yeah, because of the alcohol content, and they would drink that to get a buzz or to get high, which falls under drinking an intoxicant. But when we talk about the drinking and the intoxicants, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what in the glorious Quran? He says, they ask you about intoxicants and games of chance, saying both of them is a great sin and means of profit for men, and their sins are greater than their profits. Now, because we're only dealing with alcohol tonight, there are people that will tell you that there are great benefits to using alcohol. They say that you can use it for medicine. They say that drinking a glass of wine every day keeps the heart strong. But the question becomes, how much keeps the heart strong? What's the difference in having a good, strong heart if you're going outside and you wrecking somebody and killing them? Or you end up killing yourself? We're going to talk about the ills of alcohol in a minute. Those things that alcohol comes and destroys. Because most of us in this country, in order for a person to have a good time, what do they need to have? Alcohol. Give me a Bud Light. Give me a 40. Give me a quart. Give me some, what's this, these things, Ciroc, Cristal. You know, people are sitting back and they're singing songs about it. They have billboards on it. But are they telling you the effects of drinking alcohol? Are they letting you know how many lives are destroyed from drinking alcohol? Are they telling you how much it's costing each and every citizen when you drink alcohol and you don't do what's right? What we find is that Islam has always been against intoxicants. But our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was more merciful towards the people than we could ever be. Why? Because as soon as a person accepts Islam, we expect that person to come into this deen and all of a sudden that they know all the rules of Islam and they're able to just stop everything that they're doing cold turkey. You become a Muslim. If you drink alcohol, you just stop today. If you smoke marijuana, you get high, you just stop today, without there being any type of a curve for those people. As Muslims, if they have these types of habits, what is it that we should be trying to do for them?
Look at drug like how they do a drug rehab.
We should be looking for rehabs for these people, or we should have a rehab situation already set up for ourselves. Because if those people don't have the support to stop drinking, to stop getting high, to stop dealing with intoxicants, what's going to happen? Eventually they're going to continue to fall off the wagon, and they're going to say, well, why should I deal with this Islam? Because a lot of Muslims, the first thing we do is bid'ah. Shirk, haram. Shirk, haram. Haram, haram, haram. They keep telling us haram, but how are they telling us to stop doing the haram? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he took the Islamic Ummah through stages of helping them to stop drink alcohol. Shouldn't we give our brothers and sisters the opportunity to stop drinking alcohol? Shouldn't we be the ones to help them stop drinking alcohol? I mean, it's real unfortunate, but when we go to the high school campuses and we go to the college campuses, we see that there are a lot of Muslims who were born into Islam that are now dealing with alcohol. Do they know the ill effects of alcohol? See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He created us, He knew how bad this thing was for us. But the Eastern and Western scientists have let us know that alcohol has very, very harmful effects to the body. They've cited that drinking intoxicants causes effects on the brain, the stomach, the liver, the heart, the kidneys, the respiratory and circulatory tracts, human mind and progeny. Sometimes the diseases that are sparked or that are started because of alcohol, they can't find one cure for them. So these people end up having diseases for the rest of their lives because they did what? Drink alcohol. If you knew that drinking a beer or drinking liquor or drinking wine coolers that they used to drink a long time ago, if you knew that these things would have those type of effects, would the people have ever turned that bottle up to their mouths? More than likely not. The Holy Quran has considered drinking impure and a filth and drinking alcohol as an act of the shaitan. So you're talking about something that's very, very serious here. Also, the Quran says that the harms outweigh the benefits. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this thing unlawful for us because of those harmful things that happen and the severe punishments or the severe actions that are brought about by people who drink. Now, we have a small group tonight, but how many of you guys have had friends or relatives that have been affected by somebody driving drunk? Okay. How many of you guys have seen your friends or people that you know from school, from the workplace, who have allowed alcohol to destroy their lives? For those of you who know what it's like, how do you get them off of that train? What is the biggest thing about a person that is an alcoholic? What's the first thing they tell you?
I can't stop.
Huh?
They don't know alcoholic.
Right. Absolutely. So how, when we look at this thing, at this alcoholism and how it goes down, how severe is it? What did our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam do after those people were warned about drinking alcohol? He didn't just do it in the beginning when he was letting the people know that alcohol was bad, but eventually our Prophet, he cursed 10 people in relation to intoxicant liquids. Those 10 people are, number 1, the person that plants a tree to produce liquor. He's cursed by our Prophet. Number 2, the one who gardens the tree that's going to produce liquor. Number 3, the one who extracts the grape or the other fruit or the wood or the potatoes or whatever it is that people make alcohol from, because there's some people who say, oh, the only alcohol that is forbidden in the Quran would be the alcohol that is produced by grapes. So if you like vodka, which is made from potatoes, then you're going to have a nice good time. Oh, it's not from the grape. It is okay. Tennessee brandy, that's not made from grapes. It's made from apples. So our Prophet, he continues, he says, the ones who drink it, the one who is the cupbearer, the one who just holds the cup, the one who's delivered it with his animal, or the one who drives it in his car, Somebody goes and they tell you, oh, pick up this beer for me. And you're like, oh, you know, you have family members, because some of us are converts. And some of us, we try to do good things for our family. And we go pick them up. And they say, oh, let me put this beer in the car. No way. Why? Because my prophet has cursed the one who carries the alcohol. I'm not even drinking on it, but I'm punished. Why? Because I'm carrying it. And because our prophet has let us know that the one who carries it is also cursed. He says, the one who's taken it from the porter, who buys it, the one who has sold it. If you have a store, what about our brothers out here who own gas stations, who own restaurants, who say, oh, you know, my customers, not all of them are Muslims, and, you know, the customers, they want the alcohol. Is that permissible? That's right, because the prophet said these people are cursed. And the one who has consumed the money earned in this way. Anybody who's made any type of a profit from this making of the alcohol has been cursed by Allah, by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is said that the person that is a drinker, who's an alcoholic on this earth, that when he gets to heaven, his face will have no nur, his face will have no light. It will be dark, it will be black, it will be cast out. No light. And on that day, what's the only way that you're going to be able to see? From your nur. But when you have no nur, you're in a triple stage darkness. There's nothing there for you, but you're grappling in the dark. Why? Because you decided not to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it came down to not drinking. Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, he said that drinking is the same thing as you being an idol worshiper. How deep is that? How serious is that? So if you're an idol worshiper, that makes you a what? A mushrik. Yes? Because you're now associating others with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you find these people that are alcoholics, when they have problems, what's the first thing they do? I need a drink. When they want to celebrate something, what's the first thing they do? I need a drink. As soon as they get home from work, before they go kiss their wife or their husband, what do? I need a drink. So that means that in everything they do, they're dependent on what? That alcohol. When their problems are as bad as they could ever be, when do they call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When they're sick and dying and drunk. On the toilet. Those of you who are in college, you might have walked by the restroom at college. You may have been on the campus late at night, and you see these people, they're vomiting up their guts and everything, and you know what they say?
Man, that was a fun night.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Please, Lord, if you just help me make it tonight. If you just help me make it home tonight. If you just stop the world from spinning. If you just stop my head from pounding. Lord, I promise you, I'll never drink again. The next night, what are they doing? Same thing. But what are their friends telling? What are their friends telling them? You know, the only way to get over a hangover is to drink some more. How idiotic can you be? That was from Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. Imam Muhammad Baqi alayhi salatu wasalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A drinker would be considered as a disbeliever in the resurrection day. Intoxicant liquids are the foundations of all sins. I don't know what happened there, but it's running here. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam said, he was asked, have you said that wine is worse than theft and adultery? Someone comes and they ask Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, is drinking alcohol drinking wine worse than theft and adultery? What would you say? Now you know the answer already,
Yes.
but we
Yes.
let's not cheat.
Yes.
Let's
I'm
put
not
it up
cheating. I'm not
right.
cheating.
The people who know the answer don't say anything.
Now, why? Why would you say that it's worse than adultery?
Can I?
Yeah, of course. Answer.
Well,
One,
to my right.
Because one leads to the other to both.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. If you're doing adultery or fornication, that's only one sin, but alcohol is truly the gateway because from that, because you have no inhibition, you can do it all in one night: murder, death, kill, and
Absolutely. And this is what Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, an adulterer may commit any other sin, but when someone drinks wine, he commits adultery, murder, and, more importantly, he quits his prayer. But what is the punishment for a person that intentionally drinks alcohol? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept his prayers for 40 days. 40 days. But during that 40 days, is it permissible for you to stop praying?
no.
No. You still have to pray. And you have to make up what? All those prayers. I hate making up prayers. I hate it to death. I mean, you know, if you fall asleep and you overslept, whatever the case may be, and you have to make up a prayer, no way. If I'm on a plane and I'm between the times, I hate being on that plane because I try to pray before I leave. But if the flight leaves at 12, the Salatul Maghrib and Salatul Dhuhr and Asr doesn't come in until 12:30. I'm upset about that. Why? Because I'm transitioning before praying, and if I go somewhere else, you know, I can make the prayer. I can make that prayer, but I wanted to pray that prayer in that time at that time, because this is the sign of the believer. We find that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, "One who drinks wine after Allah has announced his prohibition to me does not deserve a positive response to his request." The intercession of a drinker is not accepted. His speech is unacceptable. He is not a trustee. So if something is given in his trust, there is no guarantee for it from Allah. Because why would you give a drunk your stuff anyway? Because they're forgetful. Not only a drunk, but those people who smoke crack. Those people that, you know, I never thought that you would find people using heroin, but heroin is on the rise again. Crystal meth, forget about it. What's a meth head going to do with what it is that he gave to you? First of all, after he finishes getting high, and he remembers that you gave him something, what's the first thing he's going to do? He's going to go sell what you had so that he could do what? Buy some more meth to get high again. This is a slippery road that we go down, but alcohol is worse than any of these other drugs that I talked about. We find that Aima says that liquor is the mother of all vices. Liquor is the mother of all vices. An intoxicated person ceases to be a human, and he becomes a brute and loses the ability to distinguish between good and evil, right and wrong. Yes.
Why would alcohol still be considered worse than a drug like crystal meth or heroin, though?
I'm gonna give you the reasons for that, but I'm not gonna tell you from my understanding. What I'm gonna do right now, inshallah, is give you guys statistics that comes from the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism states. And inshallah, please just bear with me while I go through this, and I'm gonna go through it as quickly as possible. But one thing that you guys have to realize is that we're not just talking from the top of our head here. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us something, when He gives us something, then we have to understand that what he's given to us, he's given it to us for our own benefit. And anytime we walk away from it, there's bad things that happen. And inshallah, we're going to get to everything in this in 1 second. We find that research findings consistently documented an association between alcohol and violence. Alcohol use not only promotes aggressive behavior, but victimization may also lead to excessive alcohol use. So, not only does the alcoholic who is abusive to a person, not only is he an alcoholic, but the person that he abuses, if they have alcohol near them, what are they going to start doing? Same thing. They're going to start drinking because they want to drown their sorrows in alcohol. They said that the crime victimization survey found that alcohol-related violence was far more common than violence associated with any other drug. Any other drug. They say that a review of studies on alcohol, drugs, and violence suggested that alcohol was the most frequently implicated substance used in violent crimes, and found little evidence that illicit drugs are uniquely associated with violent crimes. A person that gets on crystal meth, if he's sweeping the floor until he comes down off his high, what will he be doing? Sweeping that floor. That's what they do. A person that smokes marijuana, 9 times out of 10, they smoke, and then they want to philosophize with you. Yeah, man, you know, and they're talking foolish. They think they're wise. But how many weed heads have you seen actually go attack people? Very few. People that use cocaine, that's different. But people who use crack, you don't really find too many violent crackheads. You know why? Because they're paranoid. They're walking around, they want to hide out, they think people looking at them, they think people searching for them, whatever the case may be. They leave themselves alone. But a drunk, when a drunk gets drunk, a drunk gets mean and loud and nasty and obnoxious. And you really don't want to be around these people because they stink. And they want to always be in your face. Hey! How you doing? So now you and this person, you're now both vomiting because of what? Because of the stinkness of his breath from this alcohol. But they think that, you know, you talk to them the next day, I was the life of the party. No, you ruined the party. Your whole presence, everything about you, ruined the party.
That's why everybody needs to get drunk.
Right. Then you don't notice whoever's drunk. But check this, and I want you guys to understand these statistics that's about to come out. A review of studies on violent offenders found that offenders were drinking at the time of committing the offense and as high as 86% of homicides. Do you understand what is being said? That in this survey, this random survey that they did of people that are incarcerated that committed murders, that 86% of the people that committed murders were under the influence of alcohol. How deep is that? 37% of all assaults were committed by people under the influence of alcohol. 60% of all sexual offenses were committed by people who are under the influence of alcohol. 57% of men and 27% of women involved in marital violence were involved in marital violence because of the use of alcohol. And 13% of all child abuse cases were committed by people that were under the influence of alcohol. So you ask the question, why would we say that alcohol has more of a detriment than the other things? Do those statistics help you out any? Yeah. These aren't for Muslims, and I will put this This will be on the internet. The notes will be on the internet, so you'll see all the sources that I came up with all this stuff. Not only that, alcohol is associated with fatalities from injury, homicide, suicide, and motor vehicle accidents. Nearly half the deaths resulting from traffic accidents were associated with the use of alcohol. Half the deaths that occur on these highways occur because somebody was drinking that alcohol. Not only that, we don't stop there, but 25 to 40% of all patients in the United States General Hospital beds, not including maternity and intensive care, are being treated for complications of alcohol-related problems. My question to you guys is, when you read the Dua Kumayl, when we recite it every Thursday, when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for these sins, do we think about all these implications that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving to us through this? Have we thought about it at all? Now when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for these sins, we have to know what it is that we're asking for. In this Dua Kumayl, not only are we learning how it is that we should make tawbah, how it is that our Lord cares for us, how merciful He is towards us, how His justice reigns over us, but it also teaches us what it is that we should not be doing. And it gives us this big blanket that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is placing over us to protect us from these things. Because not only does the word istaghfir, when we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, istaghfir also means what? Protect us. And because of this, the word isam, this is, oh Allah, forgive me of those sins that lower my inhibitions, those sins that take me away from my natural self. My sins, forgive me the sins that will make me do things that I wouldn't ordinarily do. So inshallah, on next week we'll go back and we'll talk about the gambling, and we'll talk about the useless words to try to make people laugh. We'll talk about referring to people's deficiencies, and we'll talk about people actually being associated with known sinners. So inshallah, we'll close the session with the following dua. Ya Allah, we thank you, we praise you, we magnify your name, we honor you, and we ask you to make us of those who turn to you repentantly, begging you to forgive us for all of our shortcomings and deficiencies. O Allah, help us be the examples and be able to walk out of this room, out of this center, and tell the people about the dangers of alcoholism. O Allah, make us to be the light that guide those who are looking for guidance in the darkness. O Allah, purify our hearts, purify our souls, purify our intentions. Increase us in our knowledge so that we can worship and honor you more. We pray all of this. Bi Hanif Mohammed wa alihi al-Atar. We close this session of the Dua Kumayl with the Surah Al-Fatiha, but before that, the loudest of salawats. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها